Hopefully that just worked. Oh, yeah, we're good. I think we are live right now. Yep. Good morning. Happy Saturday to everyone. Hope everyone's having a good week. I'm having a good one. NBA's been good to me. 4 straight winning days to start the season. I'm sure that'll change fast. The results of our first poll. Will Mitch bet Colorado this week? 63% of our viewers say no. I'm surprised 37% said yes, to be honest. I think Mitch is going to be here any second. But we got, I think, like 16, 17 games to go through. Actually, a couple of my favorite bets aren't from the bigger games today. I like UConn plus 14.5 for anyone who wants to throw that down. But anyway, let's just get started with the first game, which is Maryland on the road at Northwestern. Let's run a poll. This line was sitting at 13.5 for a lot of the week, but eventually did change to 14, which is where it's at now. Maryland minus 14, Northwestern plus 14. Poll is running. Here's Mitch. Mitch just fashionably late. All right, let's get Mitch in the stream. Oh, wait, hold on. I have Mitch under Adolis Garcia and Jay under Mitch. Let me switch that up.
Well, he is a home run hitter, so.
Adolis Garcia is the best player in Major League Baseball. So hold on, let me switch that up. There's Jay. All right, everyone's in the right spot now. First game up, Maryland at Northwestern. Rat Hawk, you have the floor. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I was splitting my bet here, half on the total, half on the side. I lean towards Northwestern plus the 14, but I think my better player is the under 48.5. I don't really trust Northwestern's offense a whole lot, but the one thing that Maryland does really, really well is, air out the football. This is an offense that's just outside the top 30 in passing. But if there's one thing that Northwestern's defense has been able to do to not get blown out in every single game, it's been defend the pass. They're 14th against the pass, 16th in completions allowed per game. So I don't think Tagovailoa is going to have the greatest game here. I could easily see a game that 28-17, something ugly like that. But either way, give me the under. Lean towards Northwestern in the points.
All right, Mitch.
I'm going to roll with Northwestern as well in this one. And, this was one that I battled it being a premium pick and my premium pick for the day. It really was because we've had a lot of success with Northwestern last week. And it's the type of game where I could see the Wildcats hanging in there and at least being competitive, right? And we know that Maryland on the road is not quite the same team. I love Octobers in Chicago, and, I definitely miss them. Type of game that I would have definitely gone to if I still lived there. But I think Northwestern hangs in this one. I think they even got a shot to pull up the upset.
I'm on the complete other side. I'm on the chalky side here. This is going to be the heavy public side. I'm laying it with the Terps, and it's not necessarily because I am a big supporter of this Maryland team. I'm actually not that big. I'm not that big of a Maryland guy this year. I just love the spot for them. You got the Terps coming off back-to-back losses and then went into the bye week. I just think it's such a prime spot for a blowout win. Like I said, they were taking Maryland money all week, and they were just letting that sit at 13.5. So sportsbooks seem to agree with Mitch here and Chris with the Northwestern lower scoring game. That's where the odds makers seem to be leaning as far as the line movement goes. But I'm going to lay them. I'm on the chalky side here with Maryland. Jay, are you with me?
I like Maryland in this one. Northwestern just doesn't do it for me. We have seen them compete in certain games, but I think Maryland's offense is the best unit on the football field, and I just think that they prevailed in this one. So I'm gonna take Maryland. It's not one of my favorite plays on the card, but I'm gonna lean that way in this one.
So me and Jay on the Terps, Mitch on the island with Northwestern. You know what? Rat Hawk did say he was leaning towards Northwestern also, though. Our poll, heavily leaning towards the Terps. 64% of our viewers are laying it with Maryland. Only 20% taking it with Northwestern. Kind of split on the total. Next game. Indiana at Penn State. I'm probably not going to spend a ton of time talking about this one because it's a 32-point spread. Jay, I got you up here, so if you want to start. But, I mean, it's a 32-point spread. Not the most exciting game to bet. Hello? You there?
My bad. It is not. It's Penn State for me in this one. When we seen Indiana, play Maryland, Michigan, they didn't really compete in that game. Penn State on the road is one of the tougher places to play. I would not my favorite game again, but it's Penn State or nothing for me in that one.
Let me find my Penn State graphics here. Let's see where Prop Beaver put them. Oh, here we go. I just saw Indiana, so Penn State's got to be coming up soon. There it is. So when I uploaded my video yesterday morning, I said I was leaning Indiana or pass, but a good friend of mine who I trust really likes Penn State a lot. I don't know how you really like a bet with this kind of point spread, but he's big on it, and the points he made to me were pretty solid. You got Penn State coming off a loss, and their only hope of getting into the college football playoff is going to include some decisive wins. James Franklin's kind of getting the reputation as a guy who knows the point spread and is going to run up the score to cover it. Well, I don't even like betting for reasons like that, but like it does make sense coming off that loss that they would run this score up to keep their hopes alive, stay towards the top of the college football rankings. But I don't love this one, so I don't want to spend too much time talking on it. Chris?
Sorry, yeah, I'm on Penn State as well. It's just like you said, two words that are going to be very key here: style points. Penn State ticked off after the Ohio State loss. You look at Penn State; they've won their 3 home games against FBS teams, combined score 132-15, 94-0 in the last 2 games against UMass and Iowa. Indiana, they've played 2 of the better teams in the Big Ten on the road. That's their only 2 road games. Michigan and Maryland outscored 96-24. I think this one's all Penn State as well. I think at least 38-3, something like that.
All right, and Mitch, to finish this off, are we sweeping with Penn State?
I really hate Tom Allen, and I really hope that maybe he gets fired on the field. But I have a feeling they're going to fire him as Purdue's dancing on the field with that old bucket, the final game of the season. So I think I'd like to see Penn State rack it up. James Franklin, not one of my favorite guys either. I don't like coaches that beat up the bad teams and then run up the score to cover the spread against the bad teams, and then against the good teams don't show up. If you're gonna tack on extra touchdowns and do that stuff against the bad teams, you got to beat the good teams, man. If you want to talk the talk, you better walk the walk, man. And I think Penn State, I'll give you the nod in this one. That's about it. Other than that, you're Lincoln Riley to me.
Did you have West Virginia in that Week 2 game where Franklin scored the meaningless touchdown?
No, I had Penn State. I was with you. Both had it.
Yeah, that was...
No. I've been on the right side of it with Franklin, and I was on the right side of him with him at Vandy when we used to get a lot of value on him. I've been with Franklin for years. I mean, Chris and I mean, basically the 3 of us sit in the hot tub, on every Saturday. But at the same time, I don't like coaches who don't show up in the big games. When you're at Penn State, losing to Ohio State and Michigan every single time out is not acceptable.
Right.
Losing to top 10 teams at Penn State is not acceptable. At Penn State, you need to be in the national championship talk once every 4 years.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so our poll is also on Penn State, as expected. 63% of our viewers on Penn State, 21% taking the points with Indiana, 12% over. So that's a decent amount of our viewers on the over here. Next game, Houston at Kansas State. And let's start with Mitch on this one because he loves Houston. Loves this Houston team for some reason. What Houston at Kansas State, it's at 17.5. Let's run the poll. Mitch, are you backing your boys at 17.5? They're begging you to take them with that line.
Not on the road, I can't. Last week, I was all over Houston. I was on the island on this show. I got bashed in the comments. I think I get bashed in the comments no matter who I take. But the thing is, I took them on the money line in that game as well on the show, and I had a parlay with them on the money line. Didn't cash that because we lost both halves of it with Arizona State. But the thing is that Houston was competitive. It came down to a bad spot, as to how they lost that game outright. But the thing is, going to Bill Snyder Family Stadium, I love the name. I love Bill Snyder, of course, and, I love the hidden ball trick more than anybody. And I think Statue of Liberties and hidden ball tricks, man, that's my type of football. I'm going to take Kansas State in this one.
Kansas State. I mean, they got that number all the way up there for a reason. Clearly, they are welcoming action to come in on the Houston
There's a
team.
difference. I talked about it last week, and I know you guys love to give me a hard time about the ebb and flow of emotion in college football. But I think, Jay, who lives in that area, knows this. He doesn't live in the Houston area, but he knows this about Texas, is that every kid who is born in the state of Texas dreams of playing for the Longhorns. And when you play for a team like Houston, basically it means you were slighted by the Longhorns, that they didn't pick you up. I mean, they all have a few kids that, dream of playing for Houston, their parents played for Houston, whatever the case may be. The Houston guys, they grew up in the stands, but the bulk of the kids in Texas want to play for the Longhorns. And so it's like there's always that extra motivation, and especially the fact that Texas hadn't played at Houston in so long. There was a lot of factors working against Texas, but, Houston on the road at Bill Snyder Family Stadium, oh, man, this is going to be Kansas City-style barbecue, man.
I had the wrong pie charts in the bottom left this whole time. That was last week's, but I have the right ones up now. Sorry about that. So I am actually just going to take an over in this one. I really wanted to get to Houston, but Kansas State offensively seemed to, I guess the last couple weeks they seem to be figuring it out a little bit now that they got that, they're mixing in that freshman quarterback, and Houston has no defense at all. And that game against Texas that Mitch was just talking about, that was everything Houston had. Houston gave that was it. Like, not to use inappropriate language, but they quote unquote blew their load last week. That was their Super Bowl. That was the best.
That's why I took them.
Right, and then the following week you go on the road to Kansas State in a little bit of a hangover spot against an offense that just seems to be finding its groove. I can see Kansas State scoring a lot of points in this game. I'll say
0 punts.
Final score 46-20. Kansas State wins and covers, but I feel most comfortable on the over because we know Donovan Smith's capable of making plays, and Kansas State's defense is nothing to write home about. So don't be surprised if Houston gets the ball in the end zone a few times, but like Mitch said, I can't see them making stops. So let's swing it over to Rat Hawk next.
Yeah, I'm taking the over with you. I was leaning towards Kansas State, but at 17.5, I played Kansas State. They'd win by 17. So I think that hook would loom large if I had them. So I'm taking the over here. Because, we talk about Houston. The one thing they can do is they can air out the football. It's the team that, just outside. I think they're just outside the top 20 in passing. And that's the one area where Kansas State's defense has been the most vulnerable. Donovan Smith threw for 378 last week against Texas. I think he can do something, similar, throw for 300 yards. Don't know how, effective it'll be in keeping the Cougars in this game because I think Kansas State could score on every possession in this game. So, give me the over here.
Yep, me and Rat Hawk on the same page. Jay, are you down to 17.5 or are you taking Houston?
I'm laying it. Kansas State wins this one. I like what you said. I think you summed it up pretty well. I think Mitch also hit the nail on the head. That was their Super Bowl playing up against Texas last week. Kansas State, man, quietly kept. They've been rolling. To do what they did to TCU is, this is Kansas State usually heats up at this time of year. This is what they do. They won this conference last year.
They damn sure did.
I'm taking Kansas State. I'm laying it.
I had TCU money line in that Big 12 championship too. It took the L. So looks like this is actually closer to even. There's a lot of people taking the points with Houston in the comments. 42% laying the 17.5, 33% taking the 17.5. So a lot of people do like Houston here. And I mean, I get it with that big 17.5 number. I just hate the spot. Let's move on to the next game, which is West Virginia at UCF. And let's bring Mitch up here. I'm actually curious to see where these guys are going to be on this one. I called Rat Hawk last night about this game because the line didn't make sense to me. I got this at 7. Actually, I'll go first. So I got this at 7. I'm on West Virginia. And one second, let me find the right graphic. I didn't understand the line. I think this is way too many. I think this should be around 4.5, 4. To give me that full 7 just doesn't make sense. The matchup, I know UCF looks good. They look great against Oklahoma. And I know that they're probably 7 points better than West Virginia. I'm not saying West Virginia should be right there in a pick 'em. But matchup-wise, UCF's weakness defensively, where the hell's the graphic? UCF, there it is. So UCF's weakness defensively is stopping the run. That's what they struggle with. They're actually pretty good against the pass. We saw them give Dylan Gabriel a hard time. What they're weak against is stopping the run, UCF. That's all West Virginia does, is run the ball. in run frequency, the West Virginia's up towards the top of the FBS with the service academies. It goes like Air Force, Navy, Army, West Virginia in run frequency. That's all they do is run the ball, and they're playing a UCF defense that can't stop the run or struggles to stop the run. Is West Virginia going to make stops defensively on the road against UCF's offense? Probably not. I'm sure they're going to struggle, but I mean, West Virginia's offense should be on the field for long clips, should be chewing this clock up, keeping John Reese Plumlee and the UCF offense on the sideline. Getting a full 7, it's one of those where like it looks so nice that I feel like I am missing something. So maybe Mitch can shine a light. What am I missing here with this line, Mitch?
I love UCF in this game. I don't really even see the angle for West Virginia. West Virginia, I think that they've exceeded my expectations this season, which of course it was their goal as a team. But the thing is that I think that some of the problems that we had with West Virginia early in the season are starting to show up now, and that's called a defense that you need to keep off the field and an offense that's unable to do that. And I think that UCF at home, and I'll steal Ruffalo's line before he gets it out, at the bounce house, certainly has the edge here,
All right. Well, Mitch, you know what? Mitch is biased on this, though, because he loves UCF. I forgot about that.
I do, but to be honest with you, I've been going against them in other spots, too, because this year in the Big 12, they don't really have the team, and so we talk about the transfer portal, and usually it's about Shedeur Sanders. But in this case, UCF lost its center, Lee, who was a really, really good center. He actually transferred to Miami. So if you look, Miami was the beneficiary. If you look at their offensive line, and then you look at UCF's offensive line playing now against Big 12 competition, losing the leader of that offensive line, it kind of has shown its thing. So here against Big 12 teams, it hasn't quite been as easy sledding.
I mean, just to answer someone in the comments, UCF is on another level talent-wise. They're a better team than West Virginia, and they probably are a full touchdown better. I just think the matchup's bad because West Virginia runs the ball pretty efficiently with Garrett Green and that backfield, and UCF has struggled to stop the run.
Will they be able to run the football if they fall behind?
Yeah, I hear you there, but you could say the same thing about UCF.
Yeah, but they can throw the football, too.
A little bit. I mean, John Reese Plumlee isn't going to rip a secondary apart. He's capable of throwing it, but I'm not scared of John Reese Plumlee's arm. So when I called Rat Hawk last night...
It's the bounce house in October.
Oh, it's the bounce house, right. So last night when I called Rat Hawk about this game, he shed some really good insight. He said, not touching it. So thanks for the insight there. Have you arrived on something by the morning?
I think I have. Like you said, sorry, my hotel AC decided to kick in right now. I'm leaning towards the over in a bit of a play that you may not think makes sense, but two teams, like you said, like to run the football as much as UCF and West Virginia do. Both are in the top 20 nationally in terms of rushing attempts per game. But the thing is, I think this is going to be one of those games where you see multiple runs of 50, 60-plus yards broken off, and two teams are going to score. I think I could easily get to a 35-28 kind of game here. So I'm going to take the over in this one.
35-28's cool. 35-28's cool. It's a push. I think it'll be 35-30.
So lame. So lame. So lame.
Jay,
if you prediction right on the point spread.
Jay, that's what he always does. He takes the cop out.
It's so lame. It is so lame. You know what he needs is a network
window,
guy.
I can actually see the river you're crying, right?
It's like one of those guys. It's like one of those websites where you click on the prediction for the game and it's like a total's 42 with a 3-point spread, and it's exactly like the favorite winning by 3. It's like, what? You just looked at what the sportsbook had and wrote the exact score.
Which is why Kyle and I started what we do. It's like because of those guys.
Yeah. So you don't want to make any prediction at all. Anything.
I like that. My prediction is the over. That's what I'm saying. I don't care about the spread.
He refuses to give a lean. Jay, if you take the under here, we will officially have picked all 4 sides on this show.
That makes
Any lean here, Jay?
Yeah, I do got to lean. I'm going to lean UCF in this one. West Virginia, I had liked them last week because I don't think that Oklahoma State team is that good. I think that's one of the worst Oklahoma State teams we've seen. And they got beat pretty good in that one. And then, they didn't show up. I mean, they did show up on the road against Houston, just fell short. I'm with you. I think this line is exactly where it should be at 6.5, 7. But I just think UCF's offense is the best unit on the field. And I think when it comes down to it, they win by a touchdown. I see 6.5 right now. I want 6.5 rather than 7.
Yeah, so. I did see it moved to 6.5. When I posted the ticket at 9 a.m. this morning, it was 7. So I got it in at 7. But yeah, it looks like it dropped to 6.5. In which case, at 6.5, I would still lean WVU because I think we're looking at a field goal game, 4-point game. But obviously, the value dramatically decreases at 6.5. So we're about split even in the poll in this one. 42% want to lay the 7 with UCF, 40% taking it with 7. So community split down the middle in this one, 11% over. So 11% siding with the Rat Hawk. Let's move on to game number 5, which is Oklahoma at Kansas. Oklahoma at Kansas. Is this number down to 8.5, right? I think it was down to 8.5 this morning. Kansas plus 8.5 over. Under. I'll just go first real quick because you guys already know. I put this one on YouTube.
I actually see 8 now.
Down to 8. I already ran the poll at 8.5. So continue to drive. It was at 9.5 yesterday. I actually saw. I think it was at 10 earlier in the week. So I am on the Sooners here. Definitely again finding me on the square side again, but I do not see Kansas making a single stop in this game. That defense is terrible. They can't stop the run or the pass. I think Oklahoma could just take their pick. However they want to beat Kansas, they can. However they feel like scoring a touchdown in this drive, they can do it. And I really like how Oklahoma's also coming off that scare against UCF. Like when you can get a team getting a wake-up call without taking the actual L, because then people at the quick glance would be like, oh, look, they're still undefeated, without looking and they got their wake-up call. UCF woke them up. I don't see Kansas making a single stop in the game. Now, I like Kansas offense, and I don't think the drop-off from Jalen Daniels to Jason Bean is as extreme as people make it seem. Jalen Daniels clearly a lot more talented, but Jason Bean's good. Bean's good, but just there's no way they keep up here. Oklahoma might hang 50. So Oklahoma minus 8.5. Mitch, what are you on?
I'm on the other side. I'm on Kansas. I think this is one of those college football emotional games. I think I'm going to go on the money line here. It's just I don't know if they make any stops. If they don't make any stops, I could see Oklahoma turning the ball over, and I think that counts as a stop too. I think what you have here are 2 quarterbacks that kind of run the show offensively, and Oklahoma trying to get out of that shadow of being that crappy Lincoln Riley team and becoming Will Venable's team, who's one of the great defensive minds in the history of the game. He's been to the national championship game, and he's climbed the mountain, and he's been to the top of the mountain twice as a defensive coordinator, leading top tier defenses with NFL talent across the board. In those defenses, he was the highest paid defensive coordinator in the history of college football. The thing is, and he only left that job to take a job like this Oklahoma job, and who's headed to the SEC next season, which means this is Kansas' last crack at the Sooners. I think they leave it all out on the field in this thing. I think they win it, and I think they storm the field.
You think they win it and storm the field, he says.
Field
Jay,
stormer.
Field stormer. Jay, you on Oklahoma with me?
Taking Kansas. I don't think they win the game like Mitch does, but I think this is going to come down to whoever has the ball last. I think they're going to be driving and probably fall just short in the end is how I see this game playing out, but they do cover with the chance to win it outright. I know they lost last week to Oklahoma State. Again, I do not like that Oklahoma State team, but Oklahoma out on the road in this one. I know they've been dominant, but I just got that feeling that Kansas, they get up for these games, We saw them beat up on UCF at home. That happened at home. It seemed that they play their best football at home, and I don't think that Oklahoma comes here and blows their doors off. I just don't see it happening. I'm grabbing the points with Kansas in this one.
He's right about that. Kansas does have a nice home field advantage, so that works in their advantage. So here comes Rat Hawk, and I guarantee you he's not going to pick a side. He's going to just take the over. Go ahead, say it.
You said it for me. I don't even need to at this point.
I knew it.
Here's the thing. Because I really wanted to get there with Kansas, but I liked him at 10.5, where kind of where it opened. And as the line progressed, I didn't like it as much. But I'm with you in the sense that, Jason Bean, there's not as far of a drop off as a lot of people are claiming it to be. He threw for 4 touchdowns and I think it was almost 300 yards last year against Oklahoma, a game that Kansas still hung 42 in. And I think Kansas will get their points here, but like you said, this is a spot where Oklahoma could drop 50. The problem I have with Kansas is that they've allowed 27 trips into the red zone this season, and all 27 times the opposing team has scored.
Holy shit.
So the red zone defense or lack thereof could definitely be the issue for Kansas. So I'm going to go with the over here. I could easily see us getting into the 80, 90 points range here.
Yeah, I would lean over as well, even though they have it high. It's not like 66.5 or some shit. I'd still go over. Looks like our poll is heavy on Oklahoma here. 68% of our viewers laying the points, 18% taking it with Kansas, 10% over. Next up, South Carolina, Texas A&M with a crazy point spread in this one. It's up to 17, I think now. Maybe 16.5. I'll run the poll at 16.5. South Carolina plus 16.5. Texas A&M minus 16.5. Over, under. Well, Jay, I got you up first, so you want to take a stab at this one?
Yeah, so y'all know I host the Pickdawgz morning show on Saturdays, and I had Romanelli talk about this game with me. He likes A&M in this one. I was I understand his reasoning, but y'all know me. I'm an A&M hater. I wear it. I don't see them winning this game by 17. I think Jimbo is on the hot seat. That may entitle this team to try to run it up, man, but I just don't see it, man. Are they the better team in the game? Yeah, but I like Rattler. I think this offense does enough to keep this game competitive. I know, on the road they've looked disgusting, especially the past 2 weeks, Tennessee and Missouri, but they did compete with Georgia on the road. They did do that. Georgia's the number 1 team in the country. I know that's a rivalry game, but I just think 17, I don't even see how you get there with 17 laying with A&M. Me personally, I don't. So I'm taking South Carolina here. I think they can keep this one within the number.
I give this one out on YouTube. I lean Texas A&M. When I give it out on YouTube, it was at 15. Now up at 17. It's probably a pass. I would lean over. Actually, I would lean over. You know what? I'll put over up on the screen because that'd probably be my favorite bet here. I completely see how Texas A&M is favored by this much, and it's not because I think they're 17 points better than South Carolina. It's just this matchup is a nightmare for the Gamecocks. I mean, Texas A&M, I don't know if you guys watched the YouTube video I posted, but they have a 14.8% sack rate this year, meaning they're recording a sack on 14.8% of opponents' dropbacks. That's first in the FBS by a mile. Penn State is second at 12%. So Texas A&M has the best pass rush in the FBS, and Spencer Rattler has just been running for his life. He's not even playing bad. Spencer Rattler's actually playing well this season. He just has no help. There's no run game. He's not getting time to throw. This is just a nightmare matchup for him offensively. He's going to be running for his life. I can see him getting hurt in this game, honestly. Like it's a horrible matchup on that side of the ball. And then on the other side of the ball, I actually think Max Johnson and the Texas A&M passing attack is undervalued right now because of who they played in the last 3 weeks. The last 2 games, I believe it's the last 2 games, Tennessee and Alabama, 2 of the best pass defenses in the FBS. People are thinking like, oh, Texas A&M doesn't have a passing attack. Yes, they do. This kid Max Johnson can throw it, and South Carolina's secondary is definitely beatable. So I get why the number's at 17, and if you put a gun to my head and said pick a side at this number, I'm still laying it with Texas A&M because I think we're looking at a blowout. But my favorite bet would probably be the over in this one at this number. 14.5. If you can get it at 14, which you won't, but if you can get it at 14, that's when I would 14 even. I would play Texas A&M. All right, Rat Hawk.
Yeah, you might as well just leave it up for me there. I'm going to go with the over with you. I'm probably going to have a lot more sides later in the show, but I can't help it. The totals are looking really good early on here because you look at what South Carolina's done defensively. They've given up 34 to Missouri, 41 to Florida, 41 again to Tennessee. I could see a similar number here for Texas A&M, but I also think this could be a bit of a shootout. You've seen South Carolina put up 20 against Tennessee in that game, 39 against Florida. My concern here is that South Carolina is going up against a stout Texas A&M defense on both in both facets of the game, defending the rush, defending the pass. Texas A&M, well, they're going up against the 129th pass defense of the Gamecocks, but I still think what's the total here? 51.5. I could easily see a game gets into the 60s, so I like the over here.
All right, let's send it over to Mitch to finish this off. Are you down to like 17 here? Oh no, he doesn't like Jimbo Fisher. He ain't laying 17.
Hell no. The thing is that, when we look at Texas A&M, no one should be surprised that they have the killer pass rush. If you look historically at Texas A&M, it's pass rush university, right? Myles Garrett went to Texas A&M, and what's that guy? That other guy? Oh, Von Miller. He also went to Texas A&M, and back in Jay's old win jersey for the Cowboys, he went to Texas A&M. He's linebacker, but still.
Yeah, that pass rush is
great
serious.
Defender. And Quentin Coryatt, they always have a serious pass rush, and they always have an NFL top 5 pass rusher. They always do, and they have one this year. And, that's what it is. But the problem that they have is Jimbo Fisher as head coach, and this guy, he's just awful,
According to Mitch, there's only 2 good coaches in the entire FBS, apparently. Kirby Smart and Nick Saban.
Okay. If you're going to give me 2, I'll take those 2.
No, you know what, though?
Nothing wrong with those 2.
But you said you like Shane Beamer.
I like Eli Drinkwitz.
You like Shane
Beamer.
You like Shane Beamer, you like Shane Beamer. You said, and he might get fired.
I do. Well, if he gets fired, I'll tell you what, he's not going to have too much trouble finding another job, because he comes from a great line of coaching, and coaching is one of those things, college and professional level, where there's the coaching line of coaching. And it's like, just because a guy fizzles out, and he might not have been in the best opportunity, in this South Carolina team might not have been the best opportunity for Shane Beamer. While it's an SEC job, which is an SEC job, yeah, look at the schedule. That Shane Beamer. Oh, congratulations, you've been chosen to play the Masters and the rugby match this afternoon. They have run the gauntlet. And, facing a Texas A&M is just another week at the office for these guys. I think South Carolina is going to make a stand in this game. I don't know if they win the game or not, but I can see Jimbo Fisher, being excited about squeaking one out, not prancing around like Mac Jones or anything, but excited about winning, a close one in a game that they should have won by 100. If he's even able to do that. I'm going to take South Carolina because, while you say there's a hot seat under Beamer, there's a hot seat still under Jimbo Fisher.
Agreed.
There in Texas A&M.
I agree.
I do think that $10 million a year that he makes is guaranteed money. I think he's guaranteed $100 million. So they'd have to eat a lot. Yeah.
Our poll is
$100 million what the coach looks like.
Yeah, I agree that Fisher's also in a little bit of a situation too. 42% of our viewers are down to lay the 16.5. 35% taking the 16.5. So actually, our viewers are pretty split on this one. 14% over, 7% under.
How are you going to fire the guy?
I think when you see a guy like A-Chain, go ahead. I think a guy like A-Chain who, you see the success that he has in the NFL, and you see the season Texas A&M had last year. You're kind of like, well, what? Why? Right?
Yeah. I remember I was gassing H.N. up last year at A&M too, and no one was really talking about him. I was like, dude, this kid's good.
I love him.
Next up,
we played them, and he lit us up. He lit us up.
Next up is Clemson at North Carolina State, and I will go first because I hate this game, and I didn't bet it, didn't put it on my ticket, so I'll get myself out of the way in case one of these guys likes this game. I would lean Clemson laying the points just because I hate North Carolina State, and I don't see their home field advantage this year that we've seen there in years past. Like, it used to be tough to go in there and move the football. It's really not this year. I mean, we saw a couple teams go in there and have no problems moving the football. So I'll take Clemson minus 9.5 for the show, but won't be betting this one personally. Mitch?
And when's the last time we saw Clemson relegated to the ACC network week after week? And, that's exactly where they live now. I like Clemson in this game as well for exactly the same reason that you said, that NC State, Raleigh just doesn't seem as tough of a building as it once was. And Clemson still loaded. I hate Kate Klubnik, though. I think Clemson should be looking to cut bait there.
Speaking of Clemson, let's get to our the biggest Clemson fan on the show, Jay. Jay loves Clemson. You're fading Clemson, right?
No, of course. The weekly.
No,
Clemson-
NC State is trash, though. Just so you know what you're walking into.
They are. But what's the name? Raleigh. Come on, Mitch. You always hyping Riley, man. This is a tough place to play.
It
Clemson.
usually is. It usually is.
It usually is.
But not, this year it hasn't been.
Clemson is just a team to go in there and still struggle, though. I see it.
Yo, Jay just hates Clemson.
Klubnik going, you know what I mean? He gonna throw a late pick, have everybody sick to their stomach. I can just see it, man. I gotta fade him. It's a tradition. I'm taking NC State.
NC State plus 9.5. Let's swing it over to the Rat Hawk, but I already know he's taking the under.
No, I'm taking Clemson.
Oh.
When you look on Jay's shoulder, you can actually see the banana peel still from where he was dumpster diving for NC State. But look, the way I see it, it's like you guys said. Carter Finley just does not have the same it's not the same vaunted home field or road environment that it's been in past seasons, and that's because they don't have an offense that can do anything. I mean, Brennan Armstrong was terrible. He was not what he was at Virginia. Didn't work at NC State. I'm not an MJ Morris fan. I'm not a Kate Klubnik fan either, but I got to think that Clemson's going to take out some frustration here. That's probably what they're going to do the rest of the way. They're not going anywhere fast. And I think that I'm just surprised that both these teams are 4-3, to be honest. But I got to take Clemson by double digits.
Clemson's the move. Jay on a North Carolina State island by himself.
Let's do it.
I
don't have no problem being on the island.
Actually, Jay took some heat in the comments for that. There was a lot of bad pick Jays getting thrown into the comments there.
That's fair. It's fair.
57% of our viewers are down to lay the 9.5. 28% taking the 9.5. 7% not. Pretty split on the total on that one.
Jay's blinded by hate.
Jay's blinded by hate. So extreme. All right, we'll start with Rat Hawk in this one. And we're at Georgia, Florida. All right. Thought this game was later on, but we're here already. So this one's actually down to 14. So that's where I'm going to run the poll at 14. There's some, I believe, last I looked about an hour ago, you could still get 14.5 and you could get 13.5. So I believe you can still get both sides of that. But we're going to run the poll at 14 to keep it consensus. Georgia on the road. Oh, not on the road. Not on the road. This game is in Jacksonville. What do you think, Rat Hawk?
I liked it a lot more at 14.5, but I still like it at 14. I'm going with the Gators here. Mainly because my concern is when we've seen Georgia play an SEC team with a pulse, they either come out a little bit flat or it just takes them a little while to get going. And they're 1-6 against the spread. And I think a lot of that has to do with also with the new clock rules. It's a team that likes to run the football. It doesn't give them a whole lot of time to pull away. Florida's defense is capable. The offensive line is a little bit concerning for me. They haven't been the best at protecting Graham Mertz and maybe getting a push in the run game. But I just think that Georgia comes out a little bit slow here. Florida can get a quick score and maybe keep this one respectable. I still think Georgia wins this one, but I think they win by 10 or 11. I think 14 is just a little bit much. So give me Florida in the points.
Couldn't agree more. And it's my bet on Florida is not really. Look, I'm not. This isn't like, I think Florida could play with these guys. I just think the way this Georgia team is built, this year's Georgia team, it's different than the Georgia teams we've seen in years past. If this was 2022 Georgia, the way that team was built, and I'm not talking about because they look better, I'm talking about the way the team was constructed, then I'd be laying it here. But this Georgia team relies on the pass. This is not a top 5 grinded out, can't stop rushing attack from Georgia anymore. And this is not a defense that you just can't run the ball on anymore. You can run the ball a little bit on Georgia. I mean, they're still a great defense, but in years past, like teams would average like 1.4 yards per carry on Georgia. It's not the case anymore. You can run the ball a little bit on Georgia, and you can stop Georgia's rushing attack a little bit. Georgia's a passing offense right now with Carson Beck, and I think that plays right into the strength of Florida. That's the kind of game they want to play with Graham Mertz. They drop him back to pass a lot. Graham Mertz actually 3rd in the FBS in completion percentage. He's been efficient. He's been having a great year throwing the ball. And the way this Georgia team plays, I think Florida could give him a game. I actually took the money line for a little bit too. Not because I think Florida's going to beat Georgia, just because I think it's going to be a close game and there's good value on it. But yeah, definitely on the Gators at plus 14. Mitch is going to be on. Who's Mitch going to be on in this one? I'm not even going to guess, actually. What are you on,
I'm going to
Mitch?
say Georgia.
Mitch?
I'm on Georgia all day. All day.
Bad pick.
Let me tell you something about. No, it's not. Let me tell you something about this series.
Oh, yeah, he
Okay,
loves
I grew
Kirby
up
Smart.
with
Let me
this
tell you
series.
something about Kirby Smart. That's what he's going to say.
No. I don't care who's the coach of Georgia. When Mark Richt was the coach, I was on Georgia in the right times, and I've been on Florida in the right times. This is one series that I always get right, and I'll tell you why. Because I've watched it since I was 2 years old. Because I grew up with this series. And most of my friends that I grew up with, they went to the University of Florida. And it's like, I know this series like the back of my hand. This is even though I didn't go to Florida, this is my game. This is one of mine. And I'll tell you a few things about the cocktail party. Number one, even though it's a rivalry, the games are never close.
Yeah,
they're never, ever, ever close. They're always blowouts. Number two, there's never an upset. So just take the favorite and lay the points every single time. And that's pretty much how it works for the cocktail party. It's not about Kirby Smart.
Until today.
Far better coach in this game.
Until today.
It's happened before. I remember Buck Bellew had a play a long time ago, and I also remember Wes Chandler making a play in this series. But, I mean, none of you guys were alive when that happened. But it is so rare that the cocktail party comes down to like a nail biter or anything like that. This is a rub your face in it game. And it is a rivalry in name and a rivalry that they have to play the game at a neutral site that is the exact distance from each campus. And it is, it is one of the toughest of tough tickets out there. And I got to say that, these games are just never close. And it's like, I just think Georgia is the better team. And they're never close. I could see this one being 35-7, 35-3.
35-7 Gators, maybe.
No, because I don't think that Mertz on a neutral site under this setting is ideal conditions for him. And I could see the Georgia, just like last week, I said Alabama defense is going to put some points on the board in that game. I could see the Georgia defense putting points.
Possibly,
and the special teams.
But we also could see Carson Beck. We also could see Carson Beck get exposed in a game where he really needs to throw the ball and he doesn't have his safety blanket.
He's not going to have to do anything. He's not going to.
That offense has been relying on the pass this year, Mitch. They've been relying on the pass. The run game hasn't been there.
He's going to get the ball at there. He's going to get the ball at the Florida 30 all day. He's going to start drives at the Florida 30.
Jay, tell me you're on Florida.
I agree with every word Mitch says. I'm on Georgia in this one for the first time this year. Y'all know I've been bashing Georgia all year, but this one I think is almost as easy as it gets. Listen, Florida is a simple team to figure out. They've been very simple all year. When they're at home, they go crazy. When they're not at home, they suck. It's that simple. Need I remind you what Utah did to them boys on the road? Need I remind you how they damn near lost to South Carolina last week on the road? Need I remind you what Kentucky did to them boys on the road? Kentucky took them boys behind the absolute woodshed. We talking about the best team in the country, so they tell me here in Georgia. This is a showcase game for Georgia to show everybody we're still the best team in the country. I think they blow these boys out from first quarter on.
We are split. 2 Florida, 2 Georgia. And this one, our poll is pretty split also. 50% of our viewers taking the 14 with Florida, 38% laying with 14. So our community slightly leaning Florida, 5% under, 5% over. So split on the total. This should be a good one. Excited to watch this one. Let's move it on. Next up is Michigan State at Minnesota. We'll start with Rat Hawk on this one. We'll get Rat Hawk's take on this game. How about Minnesota last week? Winning the what was it, the pig or whatever? Mitch was all fired up about the pig.
The Florida Rose game?
Hey, that was the most disgusting I've ever seen in my life. This is not a fair catch. This is, hey, block him.
Yeah. Well, this is. I'll go first because mine
sounds like other people's Twitter account when it comes to Jay and I.
I'm still mad.
Blocking our ass.
Oh, I'm redoing the poll because this line is actually at 6.5 now. I am on Minnesota in this one. Don't love it, but just a pure fade of Michigan State. I know that like maybe there's this new energy with the team since they got rid of the coach, but we certainly didn't see it in the Michigan game. I do like betting teams when like everyone else has sold on them, but I think everyone has also sold on Minnesota. People forget, maybe we haven't seen it a ton this year, but last year, nobody scored points in this building. Minnesota allowed 7.2 points per game at home last year. 7.2. So to just completely forget what we know about this Minnesota program under PJ Fleck, this Michigan State offense isn't very good. I don't trust that kid, Noah Kim, to go into this building. And I don't think Michigan State hits double-digit points. Now, can we count on Minnesota to put up a big number? Probably not, which is why I'd also lean under. But I'd say final score 24-10 Minnesota. 24-9 Minnesota. I like Minnesota to cover, and I'd lean under. Radhawk?
I'm trying to go on my book and see what the lowest total is that I can get in this game.
41.5, 41, right?
I'm going alternate. I'm looking for an alternate total.
You're going.
I'm trying to see
I see.
As low as I can go in this game, I think this could be worse than Minnesota Iowa last week. I could see 10-7.
No, but Michigan State's defense isn't Iowa's defense though.
Yeah. No, it's not. But I don't trust Cali McManus to be able to move the football through the air. Personally, I think if any movement's going to be coming from Minnesota, it's probably going to be on the ground. But this is a decent Michigan State defense, 32nd against the pass, 32nd against the rush, 87th against the pass. But again, Minnesota 129th in passing offense. So I don't see where the points are coming from in this game. It could be one-sided. Last year, like you said, was 34-7. I just can't get through with any sort of amount of points in this game, so I'm taking the under all day, twice on Saturday.
Yeah, I could get on board with that. I love I love Minnesota's defense at home in this building. Again, I know we haven't really seen it a ton this year, but it's a unit I trust. Mitch, what do you think?
I think you always have to be worried laying more than 2 or 3 points with PJ Fleck, but I think at the same time, I don't know if Michigan State's going to be able to move the football here. This is going to be a game of minimal possessions, and I think that is how you get to Chris's under, this guy never picks a side.
He's scared. He's scared of the sides. He's scared of the sides.
So his YouTube commenters say that all the time. It's like, that's why he wasn't on yesterday's live show with us. Me and Jay fired his ass.
I've never been scared. I've never been scared of sides in my life. Mac and cheese, mashed potatoes.
People are like, where's Ruffalo? It's like Jay's like, he's at the game. Andy was fired. But anyways, I'm going to roll Minnesota here. Like I said, I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, and I'm a little bit worried. I didn't give it out like as a premium play or anything like that because I am worried about the lower scoring game and PJ Fleck managing that time in that last 15 minutes of the game. But I think Minnesota does control the football in this one. I just don't know if Michigan State even, can get on the board, and that's how I see Minnesota covering. But 19, this could be 19-3.
Yeah,
I won't give out a total. And I'd be Ruffalo.
I could see 19-3. Jay?
Hey, man. When you're down in a hole, only way out is to see the other side. And that's what we're doing. Follow me. We're taking Michigan State, and we're taking them straight up money line. They finna upset these boys today. Straight up.
Michigan State,
with all their problems, all the turmoil, they're finna upset these boys because Minnesota earned that pig the wrong way. They didn't earn the pig.
So this is a karma loss here for Minnesota.
This is a karma loss for Minnesota. This is a karma loss for them boys. Offensively and defensively, look, they are the better team. And I'm not trying to sit here and tell you that Michigan State is the better team. But this is college football. This is the land of the heartbreak. This is where, this shit happens. Michigan State money line for me today. I think it's worth a shot.
Jay is on Sparty. 49% of our viewers are laying it with Minnesota. 26% taking the points with Michigan State. 21% of our viewers clicked under. So there's a lot of people that are siding with the Rat Hawk here. Let's move on to game number 10. We're on game 10 of 17. So if you're wondering where we're at, game 10 of 17, that's where we're at. Purdue at Nebraska. Oh, this game sucks. This is. Oh, let's run the poll real quick. I think it's at 1.5. I really, really wanted to go in heavy on Purdue, and that's the side I'm on. But I ended up just giving out. On the website, I put Purdue or pass, I think. So I'm not going to spend any time talking about it. I like Purdue, just a pure fade of Nebraska. They're just one-dimensional. Offense isn't very good, but I could just see with everyone betting Purdue, Hudson Card on the road in Nebraska, I could see the mistakes. Like, I could see it. So Purdue or pass for me, but I don't like this one. Mitch?
I hate this game, but it's Purdue or pass for me as well. And I think, I just love fading Nebraska. I just don't like too much at all. I think that Nebraska will have better days ahead, but I think it's just going to take a long time for Rule to get his players in there. What I really don't like doing is laying points with Nebraska. So I'll take Purdue plus the points, and I think that point might come in handy. I just, sometimes these little numbers, people are just like, it's just, point and a half. And I think this is where the books really get people, that point and a half. I mean, how many people got screwed on that Nets game the other night? That line moved back and forth. Right?
I had Nets plus 2.
I mean, everybody, right? Everybody either got killed or killed, right? It was like, so the books, they know what they're doing with this point and a half, and there's a reason why it's not a pick 'em, and I'll take a shot with a point and a half. There's no value in the money line at all. So
yeah,
let's take the point and a half.
Same. Jay, you're taking your boy Hudson Card. I know you're a huge fan.
I'm not, man. I guess I'm Mr. Fade y'all boys today. I hate to be that, but I like Nebraska in this one. We got Purdue, lost 4-5. Nebraska, won 4-5. Nebraska at the crib. Nebraska, they got that trash quarterback out of there finally, and now they've been winning games. I mean, Hudson Card, I think he's going to come in here, turn the football over to a solid defense. Matt Rule, this is what he does. As the season progresses, his teams get better. I seen him do it at Baylor. I think he can do it right here in Nebraska. Hey, if you can – that Syracuse loss gets worse and worse and worse as weeks go by. They got dominated by Syracuse, and Syracuse looks like they
fell off. Syracuse fell off.
So, Purdue's not that good this year. They're just not. And I'm taking Nebraska here. I'm not catching a falling knife with Purdue.
We got Rat Hawk back. We lost him for a second. I'm assuming he's not overly thrilled to talk about the Purdue game, but we'll bring him up. We'll see if he has a play. Let me guess, under.
No, I'm with you guys on. I think Purdue or pass. I liked Nebraska. If Nebraska was healthy, then I think I'd be on the Huskers here. But Kyle, like you and I were talking about last night, they're missing like 4 or 5 receivers, 2 running backs. The offensive line is banged up. To me, it's just Purdue's the healthier team. Yeah, it's Purdue or pass for me here.
All right, Jay on another island. Wow, and by the way, comments are on the Jay side. Our community is leaning Nebraska. 42% of our viewers selected Nebraska. 37% taking the points with Purdue. Or taking the point, I should say. 13% under. So a lot of action on the under. Let's move on to the next game. Is it Colorado time? Ooh, whoops. We'll skip this one. That's Mississippi State Auburn. So I'll get the graphics ready and come back to that one. The graphics must have failed. So we're at Oregon at Utah. Good game, though. Oregon at Utah. This line is at 6.5. Rat Hawk, I got you up first. Are you laying it with the Ducks?
Initially, I was, but I think my better play here is the over 47.5 because I think that Oregon's going to be able to score here against this Utah defense. I know it's Rice Eccles, and I really wanted to lay the points at the beginning of the week when the line first came out. But now that I get closer and closer to kickoff, I feel like this could be a 3-point game, and so I'm leaning towards Utah, but I think 27-24. I think this one gets up and over the number. I think it's going to be an exciting game, but the over is probably where I'd rather be here.
All right. He's on the over. Mitch, where are you at on this one?
I'm on Oregon. I think that Bo Nix is still in the Heisman race, and the Ducks are still in the race for the playoff, and I think that the Ducks need to continue to win. I think the speed on defense is going to be a problem for Utah in this one. I don't think the 14 points that they're going to put on the board is going to be enough to get it done. I think, Utah is a 14-point team against a good defense. And
unless they play USC.
Oregon. Yeah, I mean, Oregon. While they're known for the speed and the flash and all that kind of stuff, they're pretty good defensively, and I think that we're going to see that again in this game. And I don't see Utah scoring more than 14. I think Oregon can get into the 31 range.
Okay.
31-14 Oregon.
All right, let's bring Jay up. Or actually, I'll go first. I'm on the Ducks too. This line was at 4.5, and then it moved up to 6.5, and I grabbed it and I gave it out in the Discord, and I was like, everyone hit this now before it hit 7, and then everyone bet it, and it moved up to 7, and I looked like a genius for about an hour and a half, and it moved back down to 6.5 was where it's still at. So turns out you didn't need to jump on that. A lot of people are betting the Utes. Oregon's not as crazy public as a side as I thought. It definitely is the square side, but it's the square side for good reason. Utah betting value at an all-time high right now, just like Mitch said, playing a bad defense like USC. It's almost like people forgot how the problems this offense was having earlier in the season. Oregon, one of the better defenses that they've seen this year. Now, Utah has seen Oregon State. They saw UCLA, so it's not like Utah hasn't seen good defenses. But look at what did they score, 7 points in both those games? I think they scored 7 points against Oregon State and 7 points against UCLA as well. This team has looked awful against good defenses, and Oregon's got a good defense. Maybe not quite on Oregon State's level, or maybe not quite on UCLA's level, but Oregon's right there. They got a solid defense, and the Ducks offensively, you might be able to make an argument that the Ducks have a top 10 passing offense and a top 10 rushing offense, and I'm not sure if you could say that about any other team in the FBS. Can you? You think any other team in the FBS, you can make the argument they have a top 10 passing and rushing offense? I don't think so. So yeah, I'm on the Ducks. I think they blow them out. I think Utah's offensive problems are exposed, or really, I don't want to say exposed, really evident today. Jay?
Taking Oregon in this one. I'm taking the Ducks. I've been trying to tell y'all the Ducks were really good all year, even when they played Colorado. I told you that the Ducks were just far and away better than everybody that I'm playing. But in all seriousness, I do think they're better here than Utah. I think that, you guys hit it on the head. I think offensively, the Ducks offense is far and away the best unit on the field. I do think Utah, can create some problems, but I see this one, Oregon up 10 late, Utah trying to go down and score, and they fall short. This Oregon defense is solid, too.
Jay still hasn't gotten over what the Ducks did to the Buffs earlier in the season.
I'm taking Colorado. I mean, not Colorado. I'm taking Oregon.
Still hasn't gotten over that. Speaking of Buffs, it might be time. We're
foreshadowing.
Yeah, we're about done with the afternoon game. So 72%. So actually, our community is the heavy public is on Oregon. 72% laying the points with the Ducks. 21% taking the 6.5. Next game, Duke at Louisville. Oh man, it looks like Riley Leonard is not going to play, right? Which kind of sucks. I mean, we'll run through it really quick, but I don't really want to talk about this game. This is a pass for me because if Riley Leonard's not playing, lines up to 6.5 now. I'm assuming that means he's not playing. I don't even know what Duke looks like without him, and I'm not big on this Louisville team either. So this is a pass for me. Mitch, you betting this one?
Of course, taking Louisville in this one. I just think that this is their time. I think that they have one of the better teams that they have, and I think Duke on the road is not all that. I'm not like behind Duke like all these other people are, Jay. And the thing is,
all these other people, we knew who you were talking about.
like Jay, because we all know what happens. What happens on November 9th? Duke becomes a basketball school, and I think they become a basketball school right now. And while Louisville is
but the football team doesn't go
school too.
The football team doesn't go start playing basketball, Mitch. The football team still maybe some of the students care less about football, but those invitational tournaments are stupid. I don't even like those. So I put Louisville on the screen because Ron
Shire got a massive contract.
I said Louisville or pass on YouTube last night, so I'll put Louisville on the screen for me so it's not blank. But like that, I didn't change my pick or anything. Let's bring Jay up. Are you backing your boys without Riley?
I am. I like the defense. I think they show up here. I think they show that they can still compete with just about anybody. I don't know if they do enough to win the game outright, but I think this is a field goal game. I I like Louisville. I do. I think Louisville, this is one of the better teams that they've had recently, but I think everybody's still asleep on this Duke defense. It's the same defense from last year. They've been solid all year. I think this is going to be one of their best outings here on the road. Louisville wins it probably, but if they do, they win it late, like on the late field goal. I'm grabbing the points with Duke now.
Where are you at, Rat Hawk?
I think Jay's got his beach ball. He's got his floaties because he's taking a trip on another island by himself.
He's on a lot of islands today.
Yeah. I'm on Louisville here as well. If there's no Riley Leonard, there's no Duke for me here. I think you can put me on the field in a blindfold, and I'd still have a better completion percentage than Henry Beal in the fourth. Good luck to Duke. This Louisville defense is actually legit. Duke has played the tougher schedule. I'll give them that, but Louisville's had to sit there for 2 weeks listening about how they lost to Pitt, convincingly. I mean, we had that game here, but Louisville didn't look good in that game, and I think they've had a couple weeks to sort of stew on it, and I think Duke's in trouble here. So, give me Louisville.
Our poll agrees with the three of us. Jay is on an ultimate island here. 63% laying the 6 with Louisville, 28% taking the 6, 6% under. Now, Duke's defense does look solid. It's just, when you lose a run game, sometimes defenses kind of get exposed. Defenses really benefit from being able to rest on the sideline. So maybe we see Duke's defense get exposed, but I don't even want to argue with Jay on this one because I don't even like the game. So if I felt strongly about it, I'd go to war with them, but not on this one. Not on this one. So next up we have USC at Cal. Well, let's bring Mitch up. It's his favorite. Our biggest USC fan. Longtime supporter of Lincoln Riley. So you're laying the 10 here.
Lincoln Riley fan club.
Yeah, president of the Lincoln Riley fan club. You are laying the 10 here with USC, right? Should I put it up for you, Mitch?
Yes, I am laying the 10 with USC. I think
you really are
here, Cal. Yeah, I really am. I think what we have here with Cal is a super public dog, and I hate super public dogs. And I think if there is a situation where Caleb Williams will put up like a 6-touchdown game and they'll say, "Oh, he deserves the Heisman." This is the type of crap show that they do it at, and they hide it on the Pac-12 network or something, and they show the highlights and all this. Great, this is how it's done these days, So it's like, whatever, just give them the game. I don't care.
Jay, are you backing Caleb?
I'm backing Caleb, man. Back up against the wall. They've been talking crazy all week. It's crazy how the media just will turn on you in the blink of an eye. They love you one moment, and then boy, they just.
At least I'm consistent.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the actual football media.
As a true hater.
Crazy about that.
I'm with you guys, and for the same reasons. Another thing they didn't mention: Cal's defense has looked vulnerable to the pass. If USC had a run-first offense, I could consider a Cal bet because they have shown us that they could be very good against the run. They held Auburn to 14 points in their home building. They had another real good defensive performance too. But when you can throw the ball, we saw DJU have the best game of his entire life on this Cal defense in their building too. Caleb Williams with a chip on his shoulder. You got a pissed off Caleb Williams. People are doubting him. I think USC is going to score 50+. I do like that freshman quarterback that Cal's got, though. That kid Mendoza, he looks good. He started 2 games now, and it's looked like he's definitely won the job. And against USC defense, I'm sure he'll make some plays. I'm sure Cal will find their way into the end zone 2 or 3 times, but I think USC might score a lot of points in this game, and I just can't trust Cal to keep up. So let's see where the Rat Hawk is at here.
Caleb Williams can suck a lemon. He go sulk on the bench again. I'm taking Cal on the points in this one. This USC defense is terrible. We know it is. And like you said, Mendoza's looked good. Has Cal's defense been shredded a lot worse than I thought they would this season? Absolutely, they have. But this is, for me, is also a terrible sandwich spot for USC because they've got games against Washington, Oregon, and UCLA all coming up. To me, if this was really supposed to be as much of a USC blowout as you guys are making it out to be, this line should be more towards USC here. I can't get there with Caleb Williams.
They just got beat on their home field. How many points do you want them to lay?
If they're that much better than Cal,
see what you just said. What you just said about with what USC has on deck and it could be a bit of a flat spot. I would agree with you if they beat Utah handedly, but they lost. There's no flat spot for a team that just got upset. Like, they need this one.
I think there's a hangover here, personally. I can't get there with Caleb Williams. Just watching him sulk on the sideline, just looked like the world had basically ended for him at the end of that game.
Yeah, he looked rough. Things look rough for him. Our poll's all over USC. 72% on the Trojans. So Rat Hawk on the ultimate island here with Cal. Just 14% taking the points with Cal, 10% over. Next game. All right, we got Tennessee and Kentucky. We're almost at the Colorado Showcase, a game that shouldn't matter, but everyone wants to know. So it's Tennessee at Kentucky here. So line is now up to 4. So we got Tennessee -4, Kentucky +4 over under. Jay, are you a Joe Milton guy?
Remember, I don't like Tennessee like this.
Oh, that's right.
I don't like Tennessee. This is a tough game, though. Tennessee, they have to prove it to me. That's the problem, Kyle, here. They got to prove it to me. On the road, I just haven't seen them do it, you know? They're another one of those teams. The one time they had the chance to, at Florida, they didn't get it done. Last year, we had Alabama. Everybody was so hyped on Tennessee. They're going to do it again. No, sir. So I don't want to lay points with them on the road. Would I be surprised they came out here and got it done? No. But because of that reason, Kentucky, I know they've had terrible back-to-back weeks, but I think it creates value on them. Give me Kentucky, the other basketball school. I'm going to parlay up the 2 basketball schools today.
It's called the basketball parlay.
Actually, I'm going to parlay up all 3 of the basketball schools today. Kansas, Duke, Kentucky. There you go.
That probably was nice while it lasted.
Mitch, are you on Tennessee or Kentucky here?
I'm on Tennessee.
Bad pick.
Same thing with same thing with Duke. It's that time of year, and
that's a bullshit reason. Stop it with that. It's basketball season, so we can't bet this team. Get the hell out of here.
All right. No, hold on. All right. Maybe it's a bullshit reason, but let's look at Kentucky under Bob Stoops. First 6 games versus final 6 games. Let's look at him pre-college basketball season versus college basketball, midnight madness, and beyond. I think what we see is, well, his record falls off every single year. So why would this year be any different?
When's Midnight Madness?
I don't know.
So it didn't even happen yet? You freak!
9th.
It didn't even happen yet. Oh, my God. Kentucky's the move here, man. Game. November 9th. So what you're saying isn't even a factor then. Like Kentucky +4.
Taking Tennessee. Taking Tennessee.
The move here is to take whoever's getting the points because neither of these teams can throw the ball, and they both have great defenses. You're going to see 2 offenses try to establish the run, and 2 offenses probably struggle to do so because both these defenses are good. Look, Joe Milton cannot throw the ball. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know if maybe he was just overvalued entering the season. I don't like what I've seen from Joe Milton at all. That being said, trust me, I'm right there in the same spot when it comes to Devin Leary throwing the ball with Kentucky, too. He's had an even worse season than Joe Milton. I don't trust either passing attack. We're getting Kentucky at home. We're getting 4 points. I don't even know if I like them to win the game. But I think we're going to see 2 teams running the ball, 2 teams settling for field goals, and I'm getting 4. To be honest, the under, if I gun to my head, what was my favorite bet in the game, it would probably be the under, and I'm sure Rat Hawk's about to come up here and tell you to take the under. But obviously, betting sides is more fun, and I like that I'm getting 4, so I do like Kentucky. I am on the Wildcats here.
1,700 people watching, and I appreciate all of you guys. We all do.
Yeah, wow.
Sorry about that.
1,700.
1,700.
Thanks to
everybody that's tuned in, man. You guys are rock stars, man. I love talking sports betting with these guys all day, but you guys make it better.
1,700 people tuned in to see Rat Hawk take an under. Am I right? Did I just call you out?
You called me out, but I was also leaning towards Kentucky in the points. But the under is my better play here. The reason that I like Kentucky in the points is because I feel it's a field goal game, especially when the line's now at 4. And the difference for me in the quarterbacks is we talk about Joe Milton and his issues throwing the ball down the field. I've stopped keeping track of what his completion percentage is of balls over 20 yards because it's probably not going to break 30% the rest of the year. But Devin Leary, at least, if you could say anything about Devin Leary, is he's at least had an excuse. He's been dealing with some mechanical issues because of that pec injury that he had at NC State. But it looks like he's been able to get healthy a little bit and sort of figure that out. I can't get there with a Joe Milton-led offense. He's got a cannon for an arm, but that 60-yard ball he's throwing down the field ends up in the fourth row hitting a guy eating his popcorn. Does no good for me. So I'm going to take Kentucky in the points. I think it's a field goal game.
Yeah, so me and Chris are actually on the exact same page. Kentucky and under. Low-scoring game, both two good defenses. Whoever wins the game is whichever one of these I don't want to call them bad, whichever one of these struggling quarterbacks is able to step up and have a better game probably comes out on top. But I like it to be a field goal game. 46. Our community's on Tennessee though. They're siding with Mitch in this stupid ass basketball season reason. 46% laying the 4 points with Tennessee. 35% taking the 4. Let's move on to the next one. We got 2 games left. Wait, where's the Colorado? Let me just make sure I have it. Oh, it's last. So we got Ohio State, Wisconsin, and then we got Colorado. We also can go back because I got the graphics for the Auburn game if we have time.
No Texas?
Yeah, I mean, there was 23 points. I tried to narrow it down to 17 games.
I know, I'm just
it didn't make the cut. Didn't make the cut this week. Neither did Mitch's Miami. So Ohio State at Wisconsin, 14.5 points. Ohio State minus 14.5. Wisconsin plus 14.5. Over. Yeah, my keyboard's messing up here. Under. Sorry about that. Poll is now running. Go ahead and cast your votes. And no, I didn't put UNC didn't make the cut either. We need to finish by noon, and we're on pace to do so. So I 17, 18 games, it gets us right there. If I put too many in, we don't get to finish. So, Rat Hawk, you are on the clock. Ohio State, Wisconsin, you're kicking us off. What do you got?
Yeah, this is another one where I was kind of splitting between the side and the total. I like the under here, but I also like Wisconsin and the points. I think this is just going to be another defensive showcase from Ohio State. I think that's been the better part of Ohio State's game this season has been the defense, because when the offense wasn't there, like it wasn't against Indiana to start the year, they still held Indiana to 3 points. And, they still held Notre Dame to 17, even in 14 in that game as well. I think the same thing's going to happen with Wisconsin here. I don't love Wisconsin's offense, but at 14.5, I could see 24-10. I could see this game sneaking in under the number and potentially Wisconsin going in the back door here, but the under probably the stronger of the two for me here.
Let's bring up Mitch, and let me guess, Mitch, you're taking Wisconsin because lacrosse season starts for Ohio State, and they got a real strong squad this year. What do you have, Mitch?
I'm going with the over in Rat Hawk totals given in one show. He's going. I think he went for record breaker.
Yeah, he's the double-digit totals.
Yeah, I mean he's wimped out on every single game there has been. I mean, especially because this is for college football. This is the tough weeks. This is those conference matchups, not a lot of big name games. And it's like, this is where the meat and potatoes, happens. And then it's like, you get into those bigger matchups as the season goes on. But this is the Super Bowl for Wisconsin. Every year they host the Buckeyes. And
every year they get smacked.
They're going to get smacked. And I think with Henderson back in there, I think they're going to get extra smacked in this one. I kind of like it when Wisconsin gets run over. I like Fickle, but I just hate Wisconsin, so I like. I'm going to go with the Buckeyes, and I hate both these teams a lot. So I mean, in all fairness, I probably hate Ohio State a little bit more. I've said it before. My wife's grandfather played quarterback there, and she's from Ohio, and her family's Ohio, and they're all big Buckeye fans. But I'll tell you what, I hate them because of that Fiesta Bowl, and also, of course, the Kickoff Classic when we stomped their ass. But the thing is I think in this game, just way too much talent on Ohio State. And I just think with Henderson back there, he is an NFL first-round draft choice. It's not like just, some guy, some running back, no James Harden, right?
He's good as hell, Henderson.
He's a first-round, he's a projected.
He might be the best running back in the FBS. I mean, he's one of.
Projected mid-first-round draft choice.
Yeah, he's good. I'm with you, Mitch. I'm on a lot of favorites today. I'm on Ohio State minus 14.5. And look, this Wisconsin defense, in my opinion, against the pass hasn't been proven. The best quarterback they've seen all year is Cam Ward back in week 2. And not that Cam Ward isn't good. Respect to Cam Ward, but he's not the most elite thrower of the football. Kyle McCord is really putting himself together a good season. Threw for 285 yards or something like that against Penn State last week. We know how good that defense is. I don't know how Wisconsin makes stops against the pass. Now, they're at home in Madison, so I'm sure that results in a couple sacks. I'm sure they'll make some plays. I'm not saying Ohio State's going to run up the score, but I think they will find a way to get the ball in the end zone a few times. But on the other side of the ball, this is the real reason I'm betting Ohio State is on the other side of the ball, because that defense with Jim Schwartz, that defense is so good. That might be the best defense in the country right here in Ohio State. Beta Rank has them first. They're first against the pass, 8th against the rush, I think, something like that. What they made Penn State's offense look like last week was insane. And I know maybe that does result in a letdown spot, but Wisconsin isn't a letdown spot for Ohio State. It's not like they're taking Wisconsin lightly. It's a big rivalry. I could see if Ohio State hits 20 points, I think they got a shot to cover this, because I don't think Wisconsin hits double digits. So there's a couple ways you could play this. I'm going to put Ohio State minus 14 and a half up for this show, but a Wisconsin team total under might be a real sharp move. I like Rat Hawks under too. I would lean that way as well. I'm going to say Ohio State 28-6 final score. So Wisconsin, I don't think Wisconsin scores. That's my angle.
One thing that you know about this game that you have to kind of be a little bit worried about with that hook in there especially is, though, that Luke Fickell is an Ohio State guy. They are not going to stick it to him. They will not run it up on him. They will not stick it to him with a late score. They will not do that. He was, he was the interim head coach at Ohio State when Jim Tressel scandal occurred. He played at Ohio State. He was the defensive coordinator
I didn't even think about
Urban
that.
Meyer. Under Urban Meyer, he is an Ohio State guy through and through. And my guess is that if Ryan Day gets fired, he'll be the next head coach.
Yeah, but Fickell just got to Wisconsin, so there's no way he leaves right away.
I bet you in his contract, usually those Wisconsin contracts you could find on the internet, my guess is there's a clause that he has 2 jobs or 1 job that he can leave for. And my
Ohio
guess
State's
is Ohio State. Yeah, just like Dabo Swinney has a clause. He can leave Clemson under this with no penalty for 1 job, Alabama.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, because he's an Alabama guy. He played at Alabama.
Right.
So it's like you have that thing. So it's like you just put that in there that if that job happens to come up, then. But I don't know if he has it or not. I'm just guessing that he does.
Right.
I'm not his agent, but I play it on Twitter and in AOL chat rooms.
Jay, where you at? He's on the Badgers. I can hear it in his voice. I can hear it in that sigh.
I'm taking Wisconsin. I am.
He seems thrilled about it.
Mordecai, it's because Mordecai, I've been bashing him all year as well, but it's just too many points for Ohio State. It just is too many. They win this game by 13. They give everybody hope, the 4-letter word, and they just come up short. I think Wisconsin sneaks in the back door in this one, so.
Yeah,
I don't love this game. I really don't love this game, but my gut tells me Wisconsin plus the points is decided.
The backup quarterback is no better than Mordecai either. So, I mean, he probably can't really get much worse than Mordecai so far this year. But all right, so 67% of our viewers laying the 14.5 with Ohio State, 22% taking them with Wisconsin. Last game up, Colorado. Wow. All right. Well, the Jay got up on the screen first. So I'll have him start us off. I think this number's at 15. I'll run the poll at 15. Jay, are you taking 15 with your boys, or have you given up on them? Wow, he hesitates. I thought it was going to be a quick answer.
I'm taking Colorado plus the points. I am. I think they have a legitimate shot to win this game outright. I know. Here's why. I know the last time we saw them, they lost in disgusting fashion, but a lot has happened since then. They had a bye. They've grown. I think they catch UCLA off guard. I think they do move the football on UCLA. I think UCLA is the better football team, but I'm not laying 15.5. No, sir. I think this is a 7-point game all day. We saw Colorado compete in a lot of the games. I mean, it was USC, granted, but I think they compete here. Short story short, I'm trusting. The weapons I think are more healthy. You got Travis, 2 weeks now healthy. Everybody had a week to kind of calm down. I think they come in here focused off the bye, prepared for UCLA. I think they keep this one competitive. I'm gonna grab them plus 15.
I'm on the other side of this. I'm on UCLA. I was down to lay up to 17 with UCLA, maybe even more. I'm on the fade Colorado train. It's been working out for me. Even the USC game, I had USC first half, so I even won that one. I think Colorado, like Mitch always says, public's going to bet them because they're such a loved team. Everyone loves Dion. So this line probably should be about 21.5. So at minus 15, I think there's a ton of value. UCLA, a lot of problems on the offensive side, but if there's one thing in college football that can solve your offensive problems, play Colorado, especially at home. So UCLA, not going to be a ton of pressure on the quarterback in this one. Just run the ball, take what's there. There's going to be opportunities to score points here against Colorado's defense. And against Shedeur Sanders, UCLA's got a good pass rush. They're top 15, I think, in sack rate. They got a good pass rush. They have a good defense. So Shedeur Sanders, we know how talented he is, but doesn't have much protection. He's going to be running for his life. So UCLA in a blowout. Colorado maybe could backdoor cover this, but I feel more comfortable on UCLA. Maybe UCLA first half. All right, let's bring up Mitch, who is going to take UCLA, right? You're with me on UCLA?
Of course. But Fickle's buyout is $8 million if he takes the Ohio State job. But anyways, it's I like UCLA here, not because I'm a hater. That's only part of the reason. It's the main reason. The main reason is that I like what UCLA is doing on the defensive side of the ball, and I think you have a team that can play defense against a team that plays no defense. So it's not going to be a fun, exciting back and forth USC Colorado type game that we saw in Folsom Field. What it's going to be in Pasadena is more of run the football and play defense, which I know a lot of people find boring, but that's how you win football games. And Chip Kelly is, say what you want. This guy's had NFL jobs. He had made, had top-ranked teams. He's done it all, man. And UCLA, it's like, who knew he'd become have a defensive team, but he's got one. The Bruins in Colorado, even with a week off, these guys didn't seem like they're all that focused at the game. At the basketball game, the Chicken Nuggets, right, against Lakers, more interested in that than focusing on the game. So
they're not allowed to go to an NBA game, Mitch. They don't have to spend every minute of their time in the training facility. I'm with you on UCLA, but that wouldn't be a reason.
I just need to find something to pick at. I need to pick at anything and everything.
Mitch said he's fading them because they were at the Nuggets game.
Are you pro Wembanyama or anti Wembanyama?
Oh, anti to the max. I root against tanking.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'm Spurs unders all the way. I hope that team goes to hell for tanking.
Jay's on the fence. I'm trying to get him to the dark
side. He thinks Spurs are going to compete for a play-in.
No, but he also saw that after the game that Wembanyama didn't shake hands with Luka or give him the little bro hug.
Man!
After the game, he went right to the locker room. And Luka owned his ass in the last 2-3 minutes when the game was decided. It was all Luka, right? It's like I even have to pump up Luka to try and draw Jay over to the dark side of the anti-Wembanyama train. It's like, this is how far I'll go. I even was saying, yeah, Kyrie and Luka are playing, gelling.
So it's up to Rat Hawk to make the last pick of the show. Is it UCLA? Is it Colorado? Is it over? Is it under?
Total. No, I'm going UCLA here. My concern for Colorado and this number where it's at is because it kind of feels like you're asking for the back door here. But the thing is that, UCLA is just so good. Dante Moore is going to be a stud. And I think he can have success against this Colorado defense through the air, on the ground, you name it. I think UCLA hangs 40 plus in this game. The thing I will say about Colorado is that they're at least built to exploit the weakness, if there is one, of this UCLA defense. UCLA's pass defense sort of around the middle of the pack in the FBS. I think they're 51st in terms of pass defense, top 10 against the rush. We know this Colorado team doesn't rush the football, so I'm going with UCLA by 17 plus here. I'm taking the Bruins laying the points.
So Jay on another island, but the community is on Jay's side. Our poll, people are taking Colorado out there. 51% of our viewers taking the 15 with the Buffs. 35% laying them, 10% over. Surprised more people. I thought everyone was going to be on the over in this one. But, UCLA has played good defense, and I didn't take the over. I wouldn't play the over because I'm scared of any sort of pass rush against Colorado. I think we can see Sudar Sanders throw a pick or two in this one. So, all right. That's it. We had over 1,700 people watching, like Mitch said. That's crazy. Everyone, enjoy the day. Hopefully next time. So tomorrow morning, they're live at 10 a.m. on the Pickdawgz channel. I'm sure you guys are subscribed to it. So they do their NFL show at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Ours is at 11. So if you're able to catch both of them, I'll be back with Prop Beaver, Toast, and you guys know the gang that I'm with. And they have their own squad that they go on 10 a.m. So if you're able to catch both shows.
Guys, so.
Yeah, they're good guys.
Those guys. And everyone knows I trash talk everybody I can, but I can't. I got nothing but good things to say.
Mitch speaks highly of Prop Beaver. He approves. All right, everyone, have a good day. Remember to bet responsibly, and see you tomorrow.
Go Diamondbacks.
Yeah, go